He got up in my face. He got up in my face and punched me, and the fight was on. That's just how the cookie crumbled,
Well, Mr. Lee, you've been charged.
I don't want a lawyer. I don't want
Mr. Lee,
go right.
be quiet. And you're charged in count 1 with battery. That is a Class B person misdemeanor. A Class B misdemeanor is punishable up to 6 months in the county jail and a fine not to exceed $1,000. Not saying that's what the punishment would be. It's just that's the maximum penalty. In count 2, you're charged with violation of a protective order. That is a Class A person misdemeanor. A Class A misdemeanor is punishable by up to 1 year in the county jail and a fine not to exceed $2,500. You understand what you're charged with, Mr. Lee?
Yep, I was plead guilty to both.
Well, you understand?
I'm not going to dick around with y'all. I'm not going to play games with y'all. I'm not going to go through all this BS. Y'all said there's enough evidence there to charge me, so obviously I did it. So let's just get on down the road and go ahead and do what we're going to do.
Well, Mr. Lee, you've been charged.
I don't want a lawyer. I don't want
Mr. Lee,
go right.
Be quiet. Let me explain a couple of things to you. If you still want to do what you're claiming, that's fine. But a person that's charged with this is charged by the state. The state doesn't determine if somebody's guilty or not guilty. You can request a jury trial. You can request a trial to the bench. That's separate. So you're entitled to have that trial. If you wish to waive that, you may do so. If you wish to waive an attorney, you may do so. But you do, with a guilty plea, you understand that we would then proceed to sentencing.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
All right. With those things in mind, how is it you wish to plead to count 1, battery?
Guilty.
And count 2?
Guilty.
Explain what happened on or about May 27th of 2024 in Elk County, Kansas, that makes you believe that you're guilty of battering a James Lee and violating a protective order against a Corin Ryan.
The violation of the no contact order is I was on her property. I was in her house, even though I was invited to be there by Corin Ryan. I knew there was a no contact order and I violated it. I was where I wasn't supposed to be. As far as the battery, I don't know who James Lee is, but I know
James Ivy.
Yeah. Okay. James Ivy. He got up in my face. He got up in my face and punched me, and the fight was on. The fight was on, and until there was enough people there that they could break it up, and that's just how the cookie crumbled. I grabbed him and put my hands on him out of anger. He grabbed me, put his hands on me out of anger. So, I'm man enough to admit my fault and my misdeeds.
All right. Has anybody forced or threatened you in some fashion to enter your plea?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any medications or intoxicants at this time?
I do take medication, yes, but it's nothing that affects my ability to understand what's going on.
Very well. And is it correct that you wish to waive your attorney, understanding that you'd be having to represent yourself?
Yes, sir. I understand that.
All right. I will hear the parties now in regards to recommendations of sentence. I'll start with the state, and then I'll hear from Mr. Lee, and then I'll make my ruling.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Gillette?
Judge, count 1 is battery Class B misdemeanor. I'd recommend 6 months underlying suspended for a 12-month probation. On count 2, Class A person misdemeanor, I would recommend a 6-month underlying sentence and 12 months supervised probation, no contact with either victim during the probation term. Even if he's invited, not to be over there or talking on the phone to them. And to continue the no contact order during the time of the probation. Court cost, booking fee, and probation fee to be assessed to the matter.
Are you aware of any prior convictions for this defendant?
Yes, Judge, he's had prior convictions even here within Elk County. But these are misdemeanors, so there's not a PSI. He does have an aggravated felony conviction for domestic battery with Corinne Ryan. That is in that 22 CR 1516 case. That's why there's a no contact order with her. And it was a condition of his parole to continue no contact with her.
Mr. Lee, is there any statements you'd like to make before I pronounce sentence?
No, I have, I agree with everything Mr. Gillette has said.
Mr. Lee, are you on probation or of some sort now?
I'm on parole right now. So I don't know, I haven't heard anything from parole yet. But normally a no contact that is issued through state parole victim services and not the courts is handled by the parole officer, and the parole officer is judge, jury, and executioner in that case. But apparently for some reason y'all are deciding to do it this way this time, so it is what it is, you know. I'm at the point I'm not fighting anything anymore. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Obviously it's everybody's going to do everything they can to keep me locked up. No matter where I go, no matter what I try to do, no matter how much help I try to be, no matter how hard I try to do the right thing, that's not going to matter. I'm just the scum of the fucking earth that deserves to fucking be locked up the rest of his life. So I'm done fighting y'all on it. I'm done fighting y'all on it. If you know, whenever I mess up, throw the key away, throw the key away, throw the key away, throw the key away. I don't care anymore.
I've heard
Looking at a minimum of 90 days on that. So I've got a year's probation and all this other stuff. How is this going to work with me facing a parole violation? We're going to be doing the same thing again. It's going to be the same thing. I can't report to a probation officer because I'm in prison. I'm in prison. So I'm just going to have to come out and have warrants and everything else all over again. This is not right to me.
Well, sir, you had a right to an attorney. You had a right to a trial, and you waived that by pleading guilty.
I understand all that, and I do plead guilty because I am guilty. I'm just saying, how is all of this going to affect me? How is all of this going to work out to where I don't get screwed? How's this sentencing going to work? You know, you asked me for my, I told you I agree with what Ms. Gillette says, you know, that I did, you know, as far as my record and stuff, and that's the truth, I do. You know, but my concern is, you know, I'm looking at you know, 18 months, 6 to 18, well, a year to 18 months on probation, depending on how you run it. Whether you run it consecutive or concurrent, and then you know, I'm looking at the same time of parole, 90 days to a year there. So that's 90 days to a year. One of those probations that Ms. Gillette mentioned, that your probation was to be supervised. So If I'm not reporting, then that's a violation, but how can I report if I'm going to?
I don't think that's what he's talking about.
All right, Mr. Lee, I've heard your statements. I'm going to pronounce my sentence at this time.
Okay.
Please do not interrupt. In regards to count one, battery, I am going to sentence you to 90 days in the county jail. I've considered a fine. I'm declining to enter a fine. In regards to the violation of a protective order, I'm sentencing you to 90 days in the county jail. Those will run concurrent with each other, and they will run consecutive to any other case that you currently have already been sentenced on. I have considered whether or not to place you on probation. And hearing your statements, I don't hear any remorse. I don't hear anything that even remotely sounds like you are going to follow through with any conditions that are placed on you. As you were already on parole and committed things that you've already pled guilty to here, I don't believe probation is appropriate. I'm denying probation. You'll serve 90 days on this case, and then you'll be, this case will be resolved. You will, any court costs are assessed to you, a processing fee is assessed to you, and those will go to collections after you have served your sentence. Mr. Lee can be taken back to his cell.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That adjourns that case.